With us now, Democratic political strategist James Carville. He's a longtime Clinton advisor. He managed Bill Clinton's 1992 presidential campaign, and he is a Hillary Clinton supporter and donor, but does not have an official role in her campaign.
Thank you for that.
So, knowing where you lie,
right? Yeah,
okay. How did she do, and what dent do you think she might or might not have made in what some people call the surge in Iowa for Sanders?
I think she did very well. And I think the contrast is pretty clear that she's saying she wants to build on the things that President Obama did, like Dodd-Frank, like the Affordable Care Act.
So she needs to identify with President Obama.
Well, I think she's saying she wants to build on where we are. I think he's saying that we need to get rid of Dodd-Frank and go back to Glass-Steagall, or we need to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and go to a universal
Surely
single
you're not
payer.
suggesting she has been tougher on Wall Street than he has.
Well, look, he wants to go back to Glass-Steagall. I mean, go into who is tougher, but I think...
Well, but Glass-Steagall is separating those two roles of banks.
I understand, but I'm saying she's making the argument that, from what I can tell, Wall Street is not crazy about Dodd-Frank. She says that she wants to keep that, build on. At the same time, I mean, I just think there's a real distinction made. And I think she went out to make that distinction last night, and I think she made it pretty easily and pretty convincingly.
Do you think Hillary Clinton would be tougher on Wall Street than Bernie Sanders?
Well, maybe not, but she'll be plenty tough enough. I mean, Bernie Sanders is the kind of gold standard. I mean, I don't know if that's, if that's a question of the election. I think she'll be plenty tough enough, and I think Wall Street does not like Dodd-Frank, and I think she's a very big supporter.
But we have to recognize you have New Orleans values, don't you?
That's right. Whatever that amounts to.
A lot of people are saying this pivot, sort of the attack that we saw last night, might be a little late in the campaign. Her husband, Bill Clinton, made a comment about it in the New York Times. Right. Do you think that this should have started earlier, that she stopped focusing on the Republicans?
No. I mean, look, I think the big question is, since the Sanders, I read my friend Bob Reich is saying that he can win. I read a bunch of, okay, right now we're going to Iowa. Democrats are going to start picking a nominee. By the way, if the Democrats lose this, we lose everything. We're totally wiped out. The House, the Senate, the Supreme Court,
the White House,
legislators, the governors, everything. And, the simple question is, how are you going to pay for this? And we keep getting told, well, gee, but we'll come up with that. We'll come up with that. And I think before Democratic voters go to post and talk about who we're going to pick, I mean, I think these are hard questions. I guarantee you the Republicans are going to ask these questions in the general election. And I think people are waiting for his answer on this kind of stuff. And I think it's a totally legitimate question to ask. They asked about his health record. He said, well, I'm going to send a letter. And, okay, we'll see what the letter says.
But she said that she released her health records. But, James, can we talk about the poll numbers? Because they're all over the place. One poll has her 25 points ahead in the national poll. The gap is clearly closing in Iowa and New Hampshire. Right. What poll do you pay attention to, and what are you concerned about when you look at those numbers?
Just as a sort of general thing, primaries are much more difficult to poll than generals. And a lot of the difference is how do they screen, how do they ask questions. It's really not kind of a suitable question for the time that we have here. Mm-hmm. I think, like most people, I kind of look at the aggregate numbers. I look at the direction of the polls is more than the actual specific number.
So what are you worried about?
I worry about everything. People in politics, they call you to say, I understand the Clinton people worry. Of course, we worry. I worry in politics, everything. Until the votes are counted, I'm scared to death.
You should be. Taking the experience you've had in presidential politics, does it look like, through your eyes, that Donald Trump will get the Republican nomination?
Man, look, Cruz, I think, has got it more thought out. I mean, he's got real fire in his eyes. But Trump is, he's very crafty. And Charlie, you've watched a lot of entertainers and stuff in your day. He has like a real timing touch to him. He can really turn a phrase. If I had to bet right now, and I've said consistently, I thought Cruz was the most talented of these Republican politicians I'd seen in a long time. He was at my house a couple weeks ago. Mary gave a fundraiser for him.
You had a chat with him, didn't you?
Right, I did. And I got him for 33 cents on Predicted in Iowa, now at 58. And I was asking, I wanted to see how my investment was doing, given the stock market. I got to make money betting on politics. And I think he's got a big... he's got an idea where he's going. He's got it pretty thought out.
So you think it may be Cruz more than Trump?
I kind of a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, James Carville, very much.
Thank you.